Welcome back to the Stone Circle by Aaron Dennis and Grok AI. Grok and I had been conversing about Gobekli Tepe in the Fertile Crescent. Personally, I do not believe it was an ancient observatory, something related to astronomy and mysticism. I think the answer is something much simpler. People of that time didn't have measuring tapes or levels. They built a communal home using the sun, stars, moon, and shadows. As a former surveyor, I can say, give me stakes and lengths of rope, and I can build you a temple. Now, let us hear Chapter 3 of the Stone Circle. Tira wiped her brow, squinting at the circle. Sitting atop her favorite grassy hill, she saw the basins below still held water, snow melt and rain trapped by supreme stonework. It was early, but the sun had risen, and a dry heat was in the air. Kesh ran by, playing with friends. His young face was smeared with dirt. She chuckled and bade they all follow her back to the stone circle for breakfast. As they made their descent, the glare off the pools stung her eyes. Wrestling and shouting, the boys hid beneath a roof of hide and branches. It was much cooler in the shade, and a friendly breeze ruffled their hair.
We need more shade.
Maru said, fanning herself with a hide scrap.
Can't work like this.
Tira nodded, scanning the oak pistachio groves dotting the slopes farther below.
The trees will give us what we need. Gav. Oh, where does that man go?
Over 200 cycles of the moon had passed since his birth. Soon, he was to lead his own hunt.
Mother?
He was as dirty as his little brother. All morning, he and his friends had been moving smaller stones to set the ground for a new pillar.
Gav,
She smiled.
grab some axes and take your friends to the trees over there. Harvest some branches. What is the point of all those big pillars if we do not cover ourselves from the sun or rain?
He complained that it was work for old men, but Tira scowled.
Oh, all right, Mother. I will take Kesh along as well.
That made her happy beyond belief. Before Kesh and Gav left with a group of boys, she made sure their water skins were full and their carrying nets held food. By the time the sun was directly overhead, the boys had enough branches for a great section of cover. Some branches were inserted into holes etched into boulders. Other branches were staked into the ground. The larger ones were lifted onto the tops of the pillars and secured with vines. Now what, Gav? Kesh asked.
We'll lash hides over them.
Kesh and his young friends ran around collecting loose hides. Gav instructed on which were large enough to use and which were to be cut into straps. The young boys then set about cutting straps while Gav and his friends climbed up the pillars to lay out the larger ones. The boar hides were larger than the gazelle hides, so they went atop the branches to create shade. Strips of gazelle hides were used to secure the boar hides. Vines were added throughout as a primitive lattice work to secure everything to pillars. Puffing, everyone gathered at the eating area. Tira, Maru, and the women had everything cooked from the last hunt. The meat was served with vegetables harvested from nearby. Einkorn, emmer, and barley was neatly arranged along with chickpeas and almonds. What are we doing tomorrow, Mother?
Tomorrow? I don't know. The men may return with more meat, or they may return the next day. The season is growing late.
Looking towards the mountains as the sun quickly set behind them, the heat let up, and she turned introspective.
For 11 seasons we've traveled through here, and we have all worked to build this place. Once the hunts have ended, we will go home.
Kesh tugged at her sleeve, drawing her attention. She smiled at him.
Let's get you cleaned up and to bed. Tomorrow is another day, and no one may know what that will bring.
Thank you for being here in these ancient wild lands with me and Tira. Music created with Suno.com. Visit www.stories by Dennis for more. Like and subscribe.